Okay, so we're still dealing with this question here, right? Table below shows the distribution of the lifetimes of a sample of car batteries. We have the class limits here, class intervals, and the frequencies. So we did part A, where we converted the class limits into class boundaries. Reason why we do this, because we need to incorporate decimal numbers. So we're on part B here. All right. We already also calculated the mean. So today we're calculating now the standard deviation. Okay, standard deviation is just basically how far the data points are from the mean. Okay, so this is the formula for standard deviation. Okay, so we get our table here. All right, so we take this to Excel. So as we can see the formula here for the standard deviation, all right, it says summation of the frequency multiplied by the midpoint squared. Okay, x represents the midpoint. Okay, so it's the frequency multiplied by the midpoint squared minus the summation of the frequency and the midpoint. Then you square that divided by n, which is the total frequency. Okay, so in our table here, we need to square our midpoints. Okay, so say here x squared, this is our midpoint squared. Okay, so we're going to square each of our midpoints. 84.5 squared, get that number. 94.5 squared, get that number. Right? You square all the midpoints. All of these midpoints, you need to square them. Okay, 104.5, you square it. 114.5, you square it. 124.5, you square all these numbers. All right. Then after we square each of the numbers, or after we square each midpoint, next it's the frequency times the midpoint squared. All right. That's the fx squared we were seeing there. Right. So each frequency, we're going to multiply it by the midpoint squared. So you get the frequency here, 1 multiplied by 7,140.25. You get the same number. 9 multiplied by 8,930.25. Oops. Yes. 9 multiplied by 8,930.25. You get 80,372.3. Okay. So each midpoint, you're going to multiply it by the frequency. Okay. 12 multiplied by 10,920.3, you get this number. Okay. Midpoint times frequency, frequency times midpoint squared. Okay, those are the first things you need to do in tabulating this standard deviation. First, square all the midpoints. Oh, let me get some top deck with some bundles. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, so midpoints, we square each of the midpoints, and after you square each midpoint, you multiply it by the frequency. That's how we got this fx squared. Then what you need to do next is you add up, you total up, okay, this column here, the frequency, this is mean frequency multiplied by the midpoint squared. You add all these numbers. Okay, you add up all these numbers. Okay, then now we can go back to our formula and start substituting everything in. Hello, is that a question? Okay, so we come to our formula here. S, which is the standard deviation, equals set square root. Usually, first thing you get is the variance. The variance, this summation of f times x squared minus summation of f x squared over n minus 1. This gets you the variance. And once you've got the variance, you just get the square root. That is the standard deviation. So in case you've been asked in the question, get the variance, which is just the standard deviation squared. It's just this part which I'm circling here. And once you've got the variance, to get the standard deviation, you just get the square root. Okay. Yes. Oh, this. Okay. Here, frequency times midpoint squared. Frequency multiplied by midpoint squared. Yes. midpoint squared. So I'll put it like this for your studying purposes so that you know what everything is here. X squared, yeah, that's midpoint squared. All right. So, uh-huh. This one, sir, Mr. James, this one here. The one we were doing last time, last class, where we ended on the mean. This is the question we're solving. Any other questions? So as I said, first we'll get the variance, then we get the the standard deviation. All right. So sigma fx squared on our table, it's this value here. Okay, it's the total summation of the frequency by the midpoint squared. So we just matter of substitution here. One five seven two four. Then here, this summation of f times x squared. Here's where we're multiplying the frequency and the midpoint. This one here, frequency times midpoint. This value we got here, 12,410. Now we'll need to square this same number. Let me just pick up this call. Hello? Okay, so 12,410. This is the summation of the frequency multiplied by the midpoint over n. N is the total frequency, okay? When you add up the frequencies, n is the total frequency. Okay, so we're going to start first. 12,410 squared 154,008,100. Here at the bottom, 100 minus 1, that's 99. Step by step. Because usually in maths, when you're solving questions, you get more marks when you do it step by step. Okay, so this 154 million divided by 100, you get 1,540,081. Then we subtract 1,572,465 minus 1,540,081. You get 32,384. Then that divided by 99, you get 327.11. So that is the variance. Now we need to get the standard deviation. So to get the standard deviation, we just get the square root. So you're going to say S, which is the standard deviation. Square root of 327.11. You get 18.08. That is the standard deviation. Any questions? So remember, when you're dealing with standard deviation, you just need to get the midpoint squared. Then you multiply the frequency by the midpoint squared. And you total that up. Once you have that value, then it's just a matter of substituting in the standard deviation formula.